And this all started because I had to open Skype for the first time in years. And I was shocked when I opened the app that like all of my messages from all time were in the cloud still. And I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy, right? Every message I've ever sent was there. I don't know like what passwords or things like that I've sent to people in the past, like over Skype. So now my options are two things because Skype doesn't have this mass delete option. I can either delete my Skype account, but then I delete my Skype account and I can't ever use it again. Or what? I have to manually click and delete each message one by one by one.
Hello, friends. Today I have a really exciting interview with Daniel Saltman from Redact.dev, and we're going to talk about how to delete your data online, different ways to do it, different approaches that exist outside of Redact.dev as well. And also, we're going to talk about data removal services, as well as what it really means to be a privacy company nowadays. As always, these interviews are fairly unscripted, and I kind of just ask questions as we go along, and that actually got a lot of really good insight that I think a lot of you will enjoy. And now let's go over to the interview.
Yeah, my name's Dan Saltman. I'm the CEO, founder of a company called Redact.dev, and it's a locally installed software suite designed to let you take control of your privacy, just in a way that's very different than most other pieces of software or companies out there have done. So currently, the main thing that we do is we allow you to manage, control, and mostly delete content that you've created across over 30 services. So you can think about that: Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Facebook, Skype, pretty much anything you can think of, LinkedIn, Teams, Slack, et cetera, et cetera. And what we do is we let you, it's almost like you can write a query very simply, and you can just say, hey, I want you to go delete all of my Skype messages with this person before this date. And it can do that. Or you can say, go delete all of my Discord messages in this channel or in this server or with this person that contain this word. Like you can really get as detailed or as simplistic as you want. Some people, what they do is they just keep a running 7 days of all of their content online and delete everything older than 7 days, unless it's like one or two private messages, like maybe with your wife or your kids. You won't delete those, but everything else you will. So that's essentially what the software is to date. The big thing that we're going to be releasing at RSA is our version of data broker removal, which basically is a very different way that it's been done to date. So right now, most people, everyone's seen the YouTube ads for, you know, data brokers have your stuff, use our service to delete yourself. And the way that almost all of them work without question is that you give them your information, and then what they'll do is they'll take that information and they'll pass that off for a portion of the deletions that they do to people in third world countries. And they will manually go to these websites and they will click the forms and go and click opt out and type your name in and do all that jazz. So it's not very secure and it's not very privacy oriented. And our addition to this market is that it's a completely locally hosted system that's able to make use of a lot of new technology. Again, running completely only on your device. There is no servers or anything like that. So it's your computer or your phone sending the request directly to get removed from data brokers, much in the way that we do with removing your posts or tweets or messages, whatever.
Yeah, okay, so let's dive into this a little bit. So I'm going to start with the data deletion, which is what you currently have.
Yeah.
So what are kind of the common use cases? So I've seen people use it like they're getting ready to delete the Reddit account. Reddit doesn't have an easy way to just mass delete all your posts, and it
Sure.
keeps the posts alive. So I've seen that use case, but some people might just want to clean up their digital lives. Like, what are the common use cases you've seen for your typical service right now?
It really um, it really depends on the person. But in general, what I've seen is that most people they have a fear of keeping too much data out there, not because they're doing anything bad, but um, there's just with the current US government, like even having a political opinion might be a little bit dangerous depending on what happens in the future. It can be stuff that you've said that's innocuous. Like we see a lot of automated, we work with larger companies and we see automated stuff where if you're an executive of a company, they'll go through all of your tweets and you probably haven't deleted all of them. So they'll know like, okay, this guy had a cat named Sparky and it died 3 weeks ago and he lives in Arlington. And what they'll do is they will find a video of that person's voice, and then they'll call someone that works for that person and be like, "Hey Joe, it's Steve. Listen, I'm at the vet. You know how Sparky died 2 weeks ago? I can't believe it. My other cat, and I'm calling you from another number because I actually smashed my phone, and I need to submit this right now." And it's all done in their voice, and it's like, wow, you've given me a lot of information that only the real person would know, and you've kind of put it like you've already eased their fear, and then they give you whatever piece of information you need to kind of go in there and go deeper into the company. So in general, there's this kind of motto inside of our company that for the most part, anyone going back through your old content isn't doing it because they're a huge fan. They're doing it because it's a nefarious purpose. And usually that's automated. Very rarely is that like a person specifically going through your post trying to find something negative. Usually it's just like, yeah, AI learning from your stuff or scams and spam and things along those lines. So in general, it's safer not to have your content out there, and it's not like it's gone. Redact can keep a local copy of everything that it deletes. So it's not like, shit, I'm so pissed I deleted this stuff. No, it's still there. You can find it on your computer if you need it. So it's really the best of all worlds.
Yeah, the local archive is there. And I mean, so I want to talk through how it works. And I'm sure people are asking how this happens locally. And, people hear something like this and they think of traditionally like, oh, linking the account to some other account.
Sure.
So I want to talk about that in a sec. But before we get there, what kind of efficacy can you guarantee? I know, like, I have this question and other people too. Like, how do you know that data is still not stored somewhere? Like, I guess maybe a better way to re-ask this question: what's the purpose if it's already out there?
Yeah. So
Like, is there benefit?
this is something that kind of comes up a lot, and it's a bad attitude that gets pushed very heavily, I think, on like privacy forums and subreddits and things along those lines. It's like, oh, what's the point of doing this? There's a copy somewhere out there. You can't delete anything from the internet. And it's just not, it's not true. There may be a copy of something out there somewhere, but if 99.99% of people can't get access to it, you've just reduced your threat matrix by that much. So yeah, it's always possible that there's a copy of your data out there, but that does not mean that you can't take steps to better your security doing it. And I will say, like, using Discord as an example, there's people that'll say like, well, there's no point in deleting stuff from Discord. If the government wants it, they'll get it, and that's it. That's the end of the story. And there's two things. First off, people delete stuff from Discord not just because they're feared from the government. You might be in an abusive relationship and leaving the person, and as a result of that, you want to delete all your messages that you've sent to that person. And then if they don't have a copy, that's it. That's a perfectly valid use of doing that. But as far as the government goes, which I think is the main thing that people complain about, you can look at what's happened in the past. There was most recently that guy, the military guy that was leaking secrets in his Discord group to his friends, and he deleted a bunch of stuff. And the government subpoenaed Discord. They're like, give us all the stuff they deleted. And Discord's like, we don't have it. So I think at the point when you find out that Discord's telling the government, we don't have it, that whole argument of like, what's the point of deleting it? The government's always going to get it. Well, no, the government tried to get this and they couldn't, and that was the end of the situation. But there's always going to be that chance that someone else has downloaded it or archived it. But for a lot of reasons, if it's not there, people can't use it. Like a great example of this is like, if you're like a celebrity or something, let's say that I go to the Washington Post and I say, look at this deleted tweet that I found of Kim Kardashian, and it's some really insane thing, but it's a screenshot. And they're like, okay, well, where's the original? Or where do you have any, like, can you prove us that this was online? And you're like, no, I just have the screenshot. I saved it. They can't do anything with that. They can't even run that story. Like, unless they can authenticate that that was the case. The fact that you have this piece of data, it's still meaningless into the broad scope of the world, like, because no one can authenticate it, and for everyone else, I don't know, it's just fake. So there is a major point in deleting as much content as you want, and you feel comfortable doing, and it's always a good thing to do. It's never a bad thing to do. And even if there is someone that has a copy of the data, it doesn't matter. You're still better off than not doing it. So
Right.
yeah.
No, I think it's a good take. And I think something I see a lot in the community, and I think you spoke to this, it's in a lot of forums and Reddit, very all or nothing. Like, if you don't know for a fact that the issue is dealt with, you might as well just not try.
Yeah,
And I feel like
they
very few
go
things are really like that.
people also like they take it to a certain level. and then they stop. They're I call it almost like Stallman-esque type behavior, which is like, what's the point of deleting it? There's another copy out there. Okay, well, what's the point of even typing it on your computer? Do you really know who made the microprocessor inside of that, your modem chip? No, it's not open source. Yeah, I think everything you just did, it's like, okay, come on. Like, because there's this, you have to stop somewhere. And I think we do the best we can with the situation that we're in. And it's security and privacy are always it's this balancing wheel. And the more security that you want, sometimes the usability is going to go down with that as well. Like if you want a super secure, super private world, your stuff's going to suck as far as accessibility and usability, and you won't be able to sync to your phone and all this other jazz. So yeah, there's trade-offs with
Nice.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Um, in terms of how you do the deletion,
Hmm.
so my initial impression was, oh, this is scary. But then I very quickly read your website. Don't worry. And I was like, okay, good. They do it all locally.
Yeah.
Do you mind explaining how, I guess, what the worst case scenario looks like and how you're different from that and how you authenticate locally and how that works?
So our software is basically a browser at the end of the day. Much like you could go and log in to Reddit and manually click edit on every single Reddit post you have and edit it to some garbage and then save it and do that one by one. We're just automating that process, and we're automating that across every service that we support. And that's basically how our software works. When you start up the program, you request from our servers, hey, what's the latest way for me to interact with Reddit? Because these guys are always changing the way that, like, the home pages and the way that you interact with posts. And we were like, hey, these are all the endpoints that you can hit. This is the stuff to look for. This is how you do, you want to look for this hash. And once you have that hash, combine it with this, and then you can send this deletion request this way. Because we don't actually do, like, it's not an actual browser where you're like pointing and clicking, that type of stuff. It's done more programmatic level. But for all intents and purposes, it acts like a browser to the social network or the media company that you're deleting content from.
So when I used Redact, like I logged into Discord and it pretty much like brings up the window of like log into your Discord account.
Yeah.
So you're essentially just offering like a UI wrapper to access a Discord account, and you have essentially all the software built in to go ahead and automatically delete everything.
Yeah. I mean, you could think of it like this. Imagine instead of it being Redact, it was like Microsoft Edge, right? And you logged into
Yeah.
Discord. Like the same stuff would be there. It's just a different front end. Like you could go and manually delete every message inside of Edge, but yeah. So we basically put like a new front end on top of every service that we support, and then we automate the actions.
Got it. Is there a reason why you opted for like a dedicated desktop program instead of an extension?
Um, Extensions we felt weren't going to give us the level of flexibility that we want for scheduling and also for running in the background. Like I think it would be annoying to have that. You're also at the mercy of Google and Apple, and I don't like that. I like that we're our own thing and we can kind of do what we want, and we don't have to worry about like Google kicking you out of the Chrome store or whatever because you do whatever. We have other issues with app stores, but that's another comment for another day, I suppose.
Yeah, and I'll ask about mobile. I actually have never used the mobile apps yet. I've only ever used it on desktop. Um, I had a quick question about the service. I interviewed a service called Jumbo way back in the day.
Yep,
I don't know if you've heard of them.
I
How
have.
do you compare to Jumbo? Are you inspired by Jumbo? What's kind of the comparison in your mind?
Well, I think Jumbo has shut down now. Jumbo
Okay,
Privacy.
I haven't been keeping up with them, so.
Yeah, they got acquired. I'm trying to think when they launched. They launched. Yeah, okay. So they launched. They only supported, I think, 4 services ever. It was like Facebook, Twitter, um, maybe I can't remember the other ones that they did, but it was only like 4 or 5 services that they were done. But also, I hated their app. I thought it was horrible. It's one of those experiences, like if you ever bought a domain on GoDaddy, at the like final checkout pages, it was like that for the entire app. Meaning, like when you buy a domain on GoDaddy, it's like, great. Do you want to buy domain protection plus? Okay, what about, do you need a website for your thing to your domain? Do you also need to have a security SSL thing? Like, and it's like, Jesus, just let me buy the domain. And with Jumbo, I think a lot of people came in there initially because they wanted to like delete tweets or something, but then they just crammed a million things that nobody gave a shit about. It's like, oh, you want your own version of Google Authenticator that's probably less updated, less secure? We got that for you. You want to have cybersecurity insurance in this app? We got that for you. Do you want us to do a dark web scan, which is just a wrapper on Have I Been Pwned? We got that. And it was just like a million things and a million, and it was just shit. It was just a garbage experience. So that, I mean, they probably did what they did okay, but and they were trying to make as much money as possible. But I did not like the experience very much. I thought that it was, as I said, very GoDaddy-esque.
Got it. Yeah, see, I never really got that experience because I think I did a review of it. It's been so long. I don't even remember what I said now. It's been years. But I guess that's something I should always try because they give me access to their premium accounts for things when I review them. And so I get like the premium experience and I don't get all the bugging because normally it's just kind of thrown in there.
Like here,
Um,
if I send this to you, so if you look at actually, if I can just open this image and then here you go, this will be much better for you.
oh, okay.
Like
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
it was
I'll include it on screen for people.
yeah, if you actually Google for Jumbo later, like a new user experience, you're gonna like it was even worse than that. That's like almost like that's almost not bad, basically. Like that would be, it was two things. It was like what you thought you were getting is this. What you're actually getting is like the above, like 100 nagging screens doing whatever. So yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. No, I was curious for your take. Because it's been so long, I don't even remember much of the
Well,
service
they don't
anymore.
exist anymore, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, regarding the data removal, just a quick touch on privacy and security. So, assuming that the account is safe and there's no like massive vulnerabilities, it's no different, and there's not really any extra privacy or security considerations for people who use Redact. Is there any fundamental difference between logging into Discord in Redact to delete messages versus another browser?
No.
Okay. Any telemetry in Redact?
Only for things like the program is crashing and we like try to find out why it's crashing. Like, but it's never like, hey, the user Dan315 on Discord typed, I love boats with this character and it crashed. That would never, we don't do that. We get very completely obfuscated stuff, and it's only in cases of like, first off, it's never tied to a person or anything along those lines. It's just like generic usage stuff. Like we try to keep an idea on like how many people are using which service, and are runs successful or are they failing? Because if all of a sudden we get like 1,000 people and it's like everyone's failing on Twitter, we're like, okay, what's going on? That type of stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
we're never seeing the content of the message ever, uh,
Got it.
or even the account. We don't even know what account anyone even has.
Yeah, and so just to kind of check, so based on the structure that you're saying and the way this works, I should be able to install Redact on my computer, log in, do all my services, um, grab a second computer, download Redact, like log into the same account, but none of the services will be on that account.
Yeah, no,
On
nothing.
account.
No, there's
Yeah.
nothing that is stored at all. Like we have an account on Redact, but basically that's like, if you pay for Redact, right, we need to be like, hey, the user Dan@Dan.com is premium, and we'll do that. But like that's pretty much it. Like we have your billing information saying that you're paid, and then your account, and that's it. But there's nothing is sent up to our servers like that. There's nothing attached to
Got
it.
it. Got it. So theoretically, if someone has a firewall on their computer and they block all outgoing requests from Redact, but whitelisted like just the domain that's used to access like Discord, it would work as intended.
When you start Redact, we do, as I mentioned, like the way that it works is it's like we have to get every time we start the program, we get like updated instructions from our servers of how to
Okay.
interact with each stuff. But yeah, there you can wire. There's been, believe me, we've been around since 2021, and there's been a million people who have wire sharked us and everything like that. There's no nefarious stuff that's going on. There's no outbound stuff to our servers. Like we don't even have the infrastructure to do anything like that. It's, as I said before, it's just specifically for crashing or major events so that we can
Yeah.
keep an eye on stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. It's just good to get that nuance because I know telemetry has a bad word, but there's like There's a middle ground. There's a way to do telemetry in a way that's not super it can be extremely privacy invasive, but that's services that use it in a privacy invasive way. And it has kind of a bad word because it's really hard to run services without telemetry. And the people who do it, I'm very impressed at how they do it. But
Yeah, I mean,
that's a
we do, like, to be
goal.
clear, we do have, like, for instance, every day we know how many people have deleted um done a successful deletion job with Discord, but we don't know who has done a successful deletion job. We
Mm-hmm.
don't even know the IP address of who's done a successful deletion job, their account they've done it. It all just goes into a third party service that just logs it all, and it's like, hey, successful deletion job on Discord, or failed, right? And it crashed with error DirectX 3D. I don't even know. I'm just coming up with errors from.
A few more questions on the data deletion before I touch on data removal. 1 or 2 months ago, where I asked just very basic questions about Redact, and I think you briefly mentioned that you guys have to constantly change the way you do deletions because these services evolve.
Sure.
So, do these? I guess I'll ask, like, have you received any communication from any providers? Are they pissed about what you guys are doing? Are they open to it? What's been your history with individual services
We've never had
like
any
Reddit?
never had any communication whatsoever from a service provider that's been negative to us. And I think that's been exclusively because we've taken extreme care to do things properly, legally speaking, from the beginning. There's companies that do not do these things correct, and then you see that, like, Meta will send them a cease and desist, or someone else will do that. There is a section of the law, which is Section 230 C2B, which deals with software that lets you filter and delete content that you do not want. And there's a specific carve out, and it doesn't matter what's in your terms of service. It's not illegal to do it. That said, they can do their damnedest to stop you, technically speaking. But I think TikTok is the one that is the most nefarious with doing that, which is like constantly trying to do to make sure that any third party apps will break, and it's very difficult to keep going with TikTok. But for the most part, I don't think that people are like trying to stop the deletions. I think that they're just, the nature of updating your app is that you're going to change the homepage, and you might change some endpoints. And as a result of that, we have to update our stuff to make that work. Or sometimes there's different restrictions. Like if you're in the UK, now you have to hit a different endpoint than if you're in the US. And we have to become aware of that because the app is failing in the UK, but not in the US. And we have to find out why and be like, oh, with this endpoint is not, it's giving access denied or something along those lines.
Got it. And so, I guess on a similar note, I know when I tried using Redact, I was a little concerned about my Discord account getting banned. Have you ever had any anecdotes of someone saying my Discord account was banned because I tried using this?
No, I've never heard of that ever
Okay,
happening with pretty much
good.
any. The only banning stuff that we have ever heard of is from subreddits that will ban you if you delete your posts, because the automod will see that you're
Uh,
going in and either editing your posts or deleting the post, and they'll ban you from the thing. They can't keep you from editing all your posts, but they can ban you from creating new ones. And I view that as like quite a hostile thing to do, but it is a balance of privacy out there, especially when it comes to things like Reddit. Is like it's a joke with us as a company. Is like sometimes we'll like be trying to solve something technically difficult programming wise, and we'll Google for it. It's like, oh, great, a Reddit post exactly about this specific issue with Electron where it crashes under the circumstance, and we do it, and like, oh, here's the result of how to fix it, and it's like this post has been redacted with Redact.dev, and we're like, ah, god damn it, foiled by our own shit. But it is, even that said, your personal privacy always trumps the usability of others on the internet, and that's just the way that it is. And you know as much as I would like to have seen that answer, it's not my right to get it, if that makes sense. So
yeah, and it's kind of fun because it's if you go on Reddit just organically long enough, you'll find comments of like rant. What is it, 6 to 12 words?
yeah, exactly, yeah,
It's just random string of words, and it says this comment was redacted with redact.dev, something
right.
along those lines. And my understanding, you have to do that on Reddit because Reddit doesn't let you just keep a blank comment or delete the comment. Why do you have to edit the
No,
comment, or is it for advertising?
Reddit does let you delete your content, but it's actually less secure than editing it. The reason why is just kind of stupid, but there's like a million sites that scrape Reddit, as I'm sure you've ever found if you do like some Google searches, and then you'll find that there's like 10 weird results, and it'll be like, something.reddit.fun. Whatever. And basically, a lot of these sites, what they will do is they'll constantly, like, their scraper will always go and try to get like the most recent stuff, like they'll
Mm,
get more comments. And if your comment is just deleted, they won't update your comment on their site. But if it's edited to something else, they will usually go and they will update your comment to something else. Not always, but it's better than just deleting it, in my opinion. So there's also, I mean, there's data sets like push shift and things along those lines that basically have like every Reddit thing in there. And so it's trade-offs. We find that editing is more secure than deleting. That's our
got it.
recommendation. Some people still want
Got
to delete, so you can, but
it.
it's,
So
yeah.
it's an option. You have the option of deleting or editing in
Yes,
Redact.
correct.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Um, yeah, I guess how difficult would it be for one of these services to start picking up on the template you use and just saying, well, if it's this template, then we don't update the comment, we keep the previous comment.
Um, I mean, if any of them started doing that, we would just randomize it, right? Like it's nice
Got it.
that we
Yeah.
can say in there
Cat and mouse
redacted
game.
with redact.dev, but like we could just put in like a generic, like, hey guys, I went to the house today and it was really great, like for every comment, and have like some nonsensical sentence, which nobody wants. So I think there's a reason that they haven't done that, because that's an even worse experience. Like, wait, this guy said he solved my problem, but he's talking about, like, it's like a really cryptic answer here, right?
Be confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, so mobile.
Yeah.
I have not tried the mobile app yet. How is it different from desktop, and what do you recommend?
It's almost the same. There's pretty much feature parity when it comes to mobile. The only annoying part is that on iOS, when you do a deletion job, you have to leave the app open while it's deleting, right? Because there's not that background support to keep going in the processes like that. On Android, we do have that, but on iOS, until that comes in, you have to leave the app open when it's doing its deletion jobs. So that's an annoying part. And then the other, I would say, annoying part of being on the App Store is that we have to be in the good graces of Apple and Google, which currently means we don't support any Apple or Google products at all for deletion, because they would absolutely be the type of company that would take revenge on you and be like, stop supporting YouTube or we're going to remove you from the Google Play Store. And it's like, well, shit. Okay. Or they might just remove you from the Google Play Store right away without
Right.
doing it. So it's, we don't, luckily, believe it or not, Apple and Google don't have that much to really do. The big things that we're missing out on is YouTube comments, which is something that we would like to do. And on Apple, I'm not even sure that we could have the access to do it, but to delete iMessages from locally.
Mm.
So I don't even know if Apple gives you the access to do that. So those are really the only two things. I mean, these guys own a bunch of other stuff, and I'm sure there's some software in there that we could do with, but that is it's a benefit that we have to do to have our app as an app.
So on desktop, you're not tied to app stores, right?
We're not, but we
Um,
still don't support.
so you still don't. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, even on
So
desktop. Yeah.
so you see it as a risk just to be associated with that like deletion service, even if it's not on the platforms themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
they hold, unfortunately, too much power over us, and it's just not, it's not worth the risk. As I said, we'd love to
Yeah.
be able to mass delete YouTube comments, but it is absolutely not worth the risk of having our program nuked off of the App Store, or having bad SEO or whatever else. Like, because you never know how these companies will retaliate against you. So
I mean, you could start not redact.dev, a different organization,
yeah,
not at all associated with redact.dev.
yeah,
Joking, but
yep, no.
it's a tough spot to be in. I mean, is there, and I guess this is a question because normally people would go, well, it'd be cool if it was a web app to avoid app stores, but is it possible to do Redact's
No.
functionality strictly through a web app?
No, not really. Most of
Why
the,
not?
well, there's different services that require like level, like sometimes we have to have like encryption packages and things like that that don't just port over. Also, I think that I'm not entirely sure when you say web app specifically what you mean, but like there's CORS violations. Like we can't, you have to imagine, like, I can't make a website that can access your Discord account, right? Like that would be like a huge,
Right.
or your Gmail, right? Like they block it, right? If that makes sense. Like, so you need like a program that can go and do it. But if you try to do it through Chrome, like danswebsite.com is not allowed to read your email, no matter how many buttons you click allow to. And that's because people are stupid and they'll, spam websites are very clever and they'll make you click yes, 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 yes. And then next thing you know, your Gmail, you've given full read access to. So no, there isn't like a way to even do it if we wanted to do it that way.
Got it. And then the last question I have on the data deletion, I think one of the biggest criticisms I've seen is not being open source. So why are you guys not open source? Is that something you plan to change? And yeah, what's like your general response when you see that criticism?
So when Redact started, which was like 2020, 2021, somewhere around there, it started because I wanted to mass delete my Skype messages. And this all started because I had to open Skype for the first time in years. And I was shocked when I opened the app that like all of my messages from all time were in the cloud still. And I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy, right? Every message I've ever sent was there. I don't know like what passwords or things like that I've sent to people in the past, like over Skype, because way back in the day, we used like how we use Discord or Signal today or Telegram, we all used Skype for that. That was what everyone used for IM back then. And I'm like, holy shit, like I could have, who knows what passwords I've sent. So now my options are two things because Skype doesn't have this mass delete option. I can either delete my Skype account, but then I delete my Skype account and I can't ever use it again. Or what? I have to manually click and delete each message one by one by one. So that's when I went looking to see, okay, there must be some software or tool to do it. And what I saw was there was really two options that came up. So the first option was there was a bunch of like sketchy Chrome extensions with like 500 users by like Ruslan Ivanovich's, and it's like last updated 3 years ago, and it's like okay, I kind of don't know if I want to install this Chrome extension, but it says it does what it does. And then you come to the open source stuff, and it's a really bad experience. And it's a bad experience because of a few reasons. First off, there's going to be multiple projects and you're not sure which one to use. The second thing is that there wasn't the motivation for these guys to like really stay Johnny on the spot with updates constantly with it. Like it's not their job to do it. And it's not a big enough of a project that people were willing to dedicate their life to doing it. So we had all of these splintered when I was looking at that time, all these splintered like GitHub repos for like how to mass delete Skype messages, and like some haven't been updated and some were recent. You don't like I'm not a programmer, right? I don't know like you're the instructions for this like okay, get a thumb drive, install Kali Linux after you formatted it to FAT32, then boot into Linux, make sure you clone this repo, then run this command, make sure you put in your access hash, and it's like what the fuck? Like I just want like I'm stupid. I'm a moron. I I can't install Kali Linux. I'm an analyst, right? Like all of these things along those lines, and it was all because of I think that um, that environment made it too easy for people to kind of spin up a repo, to clone another repo, call it something different, and it polluted the entire market with a bunch of stuff that was either dangerous or not working, and it just made a bad experience across the board. So that's like a big part of it is that like I did not enjoy that experience, and I thought that the user interface of it was not particularly good of what was available at the time. And that's still the case today. Like if you go look for apps that mass delete your content, there's probably some open source stuff that will let you mass delete your Reddit posts. And there's probably some open source stuff that'll let you mass delete your tweets, right? But it might take you a while to find the correct one to use. And when you do it, it's probably not going to be like a very point and click solution. Which is why we created Redact, because it's one piece of software that you can trust that supports like everything and you don't have to think about it anymore and it's done. And as far as why we don't open source it, I think that the main reason is that I don't want to create that situation again where all of a sudden there's a thousand people like, oh, I'm going to do a version of Redact now, but instead it's going to be like this. And, now they're not updating the stuff and it makes our software kind of worse as a result. Like there's that as a kind of a key reason, but the number one reason is that we need to make sure that the third party services that we're deleting from, as I mentioned, they can't legally stop you from deleting your content, but they can absolutely technically stop you. meaning if they can find out like, okay, how are these guys not getting detected by our automated systems that are, designed to find automated usage? And it's like, oh, that's because Redact, waits a random amount of time between 5 seconds and 15 seconds before it deletes a message on this service, and it changes its user agent based on this, and it does this, and it does that, and all of that stuff goes out the window if you publish that code. And a lot of these services do require that you do a lot of stuff because they are very serious about not having bots and spam on their platform. And the second that you publish your code, bad guys that are going to use what you've done to make spam bots and things along those lines grab your code, and now your stuff doesn't work anymore, and all that. So that's the main reason that we don't do open source, is that we're it would make our lives 10 times harder, essentially, is really where it's at. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I think definitely the second one would make a lot of sense, especially because I think there are some things where like the obscurity of how you do it can definitely be advantageous. But like, what if someone is like a huge open source advocate?
Sure.
Do you have an alternative you could recommend them? Do you think that this isn't a valid exception if they still get value from the service? Like, what would you say to someone who like only wants to use open source software at all costs?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we're not open source. Like, I mean, you can see the front end of our stuff is open source. You can Wireshark it and see that there's nothing nefarious going on. But as far as like, the process of being able to go and look at every piece of code, yeah, it's not. And unfortunately, for a lot of the services that we support, there is no open source option. Like, if you want to go mass delete your Skype messages or your Microsoft Teams messages or your Slack messages or something, there is nothing, right? We are the only option. So I guess for those people, I would say, like, you can always write your own, right, if you want to, or you can look for something else that's out there. Like, there is a lot of GitHub projects. It's just for those people, we're probably not the right option. Like, if you want that level of control, you got to go and write it yourself, right? You're not going to
Okay,
accept that you can't see every part of how we're doing. Yeah.
got it. Okay, um, data removal.
Yeah.
So I this is the first time or one of the first times I've heard about this, to the point where it sounded like the first time when you said it to me, because I totally forgot
Yeah.
if you've mentioned that to me before that you were planning to do that. So you already mentioned that the typical data removal process is you essentially, there's a service online, it's a centralized account, you just upload all your data to the account. There's a lot of trust involved. And efficacy is questionable as well
Yep.
with a lot of these services. I'm sure you saw the Consumer Reports research. And I think as of right now, like kind of still the top two that a lot of people are going to, and it's what's in our resources, is easy opt-outs and Optory. Um, how is what you're doing different from that? It sounds like you're trying to do it locally,
Yep.
but walk me through what this is going to look like.
So for both of those services you mentioned, you send your data to their servers, to their website. So they have your full name, um, all of your information across the board. They know everything about you because you have to give them everything about you for them to do the deletions and the data opt-outs, right? So you're like, hey, I'm Bob Smith. I live at 325 Main Street. This is my phone number. This is my email address. These are my past email addresses. This is my past addresses. So the risk of these sites getting hacked and then all of a sudden all of your info is out there is kind of a big deal to me. But also, as I said before, like, some of them will make use of some automation. Obviously, these sites, they try to use automation where they can, but there's people involved at the end of the day. Like, sometimes they have to manually go and they'll have to manually do, especially for something as large as Optory, they're going to have people involved, agents, to do this. Same thing with Delete Me, same thing with Incogni. And they all work in different manners. But the easiest way that you can go and see this is go look on LinkedIn. And we have a bunch of this saved for kind of our site doing, but you look on LinkedIn and type in one of these company names, and then you're like, wait a second, why is there 500 people called privacy specialists based out of Bangalore for one of these companies, right? Like, why is there all these people here? And it's like, you get it. Like, oh, they're sending all of your data to people, to a call center in the Philippines, and they're manually putting it into forms and deleting it, that type of jazz. So yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways of deleting your data. I guess I'll break it down into the three main ways. The first way, which I view as the only acceptable way, which is that on your own computer, you manually will go and, just like you with your own browser, you can click delete on a message that you sent in Discord. You can manually go and delete yourself from a data broker on your own computer. You don't need to bring anyone else into it. It's done from your own IP address. The whole thing is done locally. There's no one else involved whatsoever. That's the first one. Nobody really does that. The best that there is currently is like DuckDuckGo, but it kind of seems like it's been a little bit abandoned. Like I haven't seen any updates to it since they launched it, I think like 6 months ago or something. And I used it and
How does I actually am not too familiar with it, so do you mind just giving a very brief overview of what they launched?
it's like a hybrid localized version of deleting stuff, but you still also provide stuff to the cloud. Like they have their own
Okay.
services of doing other stuff for email. Like they're in control of your email, right? So they're doing that. So we've completely isolated all that. So well, I guess I'll get more into that. So the first part is like manually like clicking delete. Yes, I confirm. Yes, opt me out. Yes, remove. Done. Right. And you've clicked and you've done it all on your computer. That's how an opt out should be. The second way of doing it is, I believe Incogni does this, but I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure this is the way, which is kind of a spray and pray, sending out emails to every data broker in the world. It's like, hey, do you know who Bob Smith is? Fucking remove them from your database immediately. Remove them now. If you don't remove them, and then they like when the data broker is like, please do this, they respond back with an AI like, I'm not able to use your form. Please delete me now. And then they respond back, please, sir, you have to use the form. Here's the link. It's like, I can't, I'm hearing impaired. You need to delete me. Here's my information. Like it's like a back and forth and doing this, like just a pure spray and pray email approach of doing it. So that's that way. And then the third way is just kind of like they go and they check to see where your stuff is by crafting URLs. So like you might look at like databroker.com/user/Dan/Smith. And if a result comes up that has my birth date and my town, you're like, okay, you're on this website, right? And then they say we're there. And then what they'll do is they'll add that to the list. And then if they can automate it, they'll automate it by the removal from their own servers, right? Like their own server is going to go and make a request with their own IP address to remove you. But if they can't, then they'll send it off to like, I don't know, like the Philippines, and someone there is going to manually like, type it on a computer or have a, probably more likely pre-filled into the forms, and they'll click and they'll enter, they'll submit the CAPTCHA and all that jazz, and they'll do it. And that's the third way of doing it. And that's pretty much how most companies do it at this point, is they do that third option.
Got it. And so what you're trying to do is offer the first one, which
Right.
is okay. There was you might have caught this, maybe you didn't. It's been so long. We cover so many stories on surveillance report. I mean, it's crazy when I look at the amount of years that I've been on that podcast. Um, there was a story a long time ago about a university. I don't remember what university, but they posted a public GitHub repo where they offered this. They offered like a local, like opt-out mechanism. Did you ever see that?
So what
Or
they
do you know
did,
what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. So I've seen this before, but it's not like an application to do it. It's just a list of URLs for where you to go and do it. That's it. So it's
No, no, no. This is because that's big ass data broker opt out list where like
sure.
it's like a list of URLs. It tells you what to do. It's like the manual route.
Hmm.
But this one was an actual script. It was a script. It wasn't like a polished thing. I'm gonna have to try to find it, but it was archived. It was meant to be like a research project for some
Yeah, if you
university.
find it, I'd love to check it out. I mean, the problem with a lot of these data brokers now is that they're all using Cloudflare, they're all using CAPTCHAs, they're all doing this stuff. So like scripts don't work, right? Because
Mm.
Cloudflare can detect if you're a browser or if you're not, and it's very difficult to bypass that check. But then you have the CAPTCHA, and what do you do about the CAPTCHA? And then what do you do about email verification where you have to click and do all that stuff? So these are all things that we have solved locally. So yeah,
Yeah, so how are you going to do that? So what's your strategy? So I assume you're looking to take the same model that you use with your deletions,
yeah,
so you're functioning as a browser.
yeah.
What is this? And I haven't received like a mock-up, so I'm asking here,
Yeah.
like, is it going to be like your deletion service where you're going to see all the different providers? Do you put in your
No,
information
you
into a
just
form
yeah,
with like,
you put in your information in a form, or you can put in your family members. There's no limit. So the big difference between us and other people is that other people limit you to only like one deletion every whatever amount of days, like 90 days, you can do a deletion on yourself, then we'll check again, and that's it. And the reason why is they burn through IP addresses. The data brokers are like, okay, we've seen this many opt-outs from this IP address that we're not allowing that anymore, right? So this is like these guys are kind of in a difficult spot of doing it. So they limit it on that front. We get around that because it's coming from your own IP address, as clean as it comes. It's your home IP address. Like it's golden, right?
okay,
So immediately Cloudflare and all these other security providers are going to put you on the lowest level because it's like, oh, this is a legitimate user, I know who this guy is. This is Dan Smith. Dan Smith is this is his IP. This looks like a normal browser. All this is good. So we have, just like how we email can be done locally as well. And what I mean by that is, like, during the process of doing the data broker opt-out stuff, we'll have you create an email account with whatever provider you want. It'll be like kind of a throwaway, but like a real account. So you'll go create like a Gmail account or a Yahoo account or a Proton Mail account or something along those lines. And what we'll do is you'll create this account and then you input it into our program. And now the program is going to use that for future click requests, right? Like, hey, confirm your request, send it. We're going to send the email to your thing. And because Redact is able with IMAP to connect to that email, see when a new message comes in and know which link it has to click, and it'll do that. So it all does it locally. So we're not involved at all. So, your whatever account you create an email with, like a Proton Mail or whatever, to receive these like confirmation emails, that will be there, but we won't have access to that. And it's like the program acts like basically like an old school email client that auto clicks like the confirm deletion links, if you will, inside of each request. The only thing that we have to send out is CAPTCHAs when they come up, and there's services that let you do that. And it's basically, I mean, very simplified, is like, what word is in this picture? Like, we take a snapshot of the CAPTCHA, we send it out, and then someone else gives us the answer, and then we submit it back to you and you do it. But it doesn't, that's not telling us anything about what you're doing or where it's coming from or whatever. It's just like, here's the answer to your request type of thing.
Got it. And then one really big criticism and something that I'm really unhappy about with some of these services, and I know Delete Me's really come under fire for this one, is hiding plans. So
Mm.
they advertise on their site, we remove from, 6 bazillion websites, we do all of it. But then when you actually sign up, they don't make this clear. I used Delete Me for years, and I wasn't aware that my plan only covered like 60 of them. You have to
Mm.
upgrade to secret plans in order to access it. So
Mm.
are you looking to set up a structure where you change the amount that's deleted, or is it just a flat, if you're using this service, all of it will be deleted? Do you know
I
what
think
I'm
our
asking?
goal yes, you're saying like, is there going to be like light and upgraded
Yes.
and ultimate,
Yes.
and like this one does 100 sites and this does 150? No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I think that we're trying to, our software, unlike all of these other people, we have a lifetime option. You can buy us once and never pay us again, and that's it. And you're done. It's not even a software as a service anymore. It's, you pay us once and then you get this forever, and you can use it for everyone in your family, and you can do it whatever. I mean, until you're blue in the face. That's it. So um, yeah, I mean, listen, when it comes to Delete Me, I mean, they have their business model of how they do that. I think right now we have like a generic premium. So we have our free version, which lets you do pretty much a lot of stuff, like up to 30 days worth of content. And we have like our middle of the road option, which is like kind of for social media, and Data Broker will be included in that. And then we have our kind of enterprise stuff, which is like if you want to delete from Slack or Teams or LinkedIn or kind of
Mm.
more worky type of platforms, that's in there. There may be some stuff that we add into the ultimate plan that's more so based around like AI and things along those lines, but we're still determining that. But as far as like generic data broker stuff, I don't really like that model of like, this one has 200, this one has 250. And also, by the way, those numbers are all bullshit from most of these sites, because if you go through and you look at like what are the sites that you're claiming you delete from, it'll be like, 50 of the sites will be like Massachusetts gunoptout.com, California gunregistry.com, Connecticut gunregistry.com, Texas gun
Mhm.
registry. And there's literally like, they'll count 50 of these sites as 50 sites, even though it's like the same site, but just they changed the front, the domain for each of them. It's like, it reminds me of like the megapixel wars back in the day for cameras, and where it's meaningless. Realistically speaking, there's like 30-ish websites that really, really matter to delete from. And then the other ones are kind of mostly bullshit. And you can delete from them and get a lot from them. But like the core 30, a lot of these guys don't cover some of them because they're very difficult to delete from. Like People Connect is notorious for being very, very difficult to
I
automate. Yeah,
I was going to actually ask about that. So I pulled up my list. So I'm using easy opt-outs right now.
sure.
And they actually have some unsupported sites, because even with them, like they don't, it's easy, it's hard to automate. So People Connect, Truth Finder, Instant Checkmate, and Intellius. Intellius, you practically have to like KYC yourself to just remove it, and it doesn't even fully remove it, it just hides it from the public.
Yeah.
Um, do you plan to support those, or do you plan to kind of do the same thing of like manually check these?
No, we'll be supporting those.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um,
And again, the reason
let's
why
see.
we can do that is because the user is able to go and they're create an email and they can click and do that stuff. Because sometimes these guys do shenanigans where they're like, hey, we're going to only send an email to your main email account, like, dan@gmail.com. We're only sending an email there because that's what we have on file. Like, obviously, then you have two options. You can either link your Gmail to Redact, which again is still locally, or you can just manually click it when that message comes into your Gmail account. You'll be like, oh, I got to click this to approve the thing. And Redact will
Got it.
intermediarily check to see if you've clicked that link, and then if it does, it continues with the process.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And so you said there's like 30 sites to really focus on.
yeah.
So is that what you're planning to be like? Is that the scope that you have for this? Is
Well,
30, or do you
we
hope
still
to?
no. We're gonna have a
Okay,
much bigger number, but it's all the big thing is that we support the sites that really matter, where a lot of these guys won't. But also on top of that is that we'll do the same bullshit websites that all these guys do. Like as I said, we'll count 50 websites for each like MassachusettsGunBroker.com, right? So we'll do that because you have to because there's too many people that just look at like how many sites you support. Oh, this one does 600. This one does 700. Like believe me, we're gonna be putting that number at like 1800 or something and like starting over the megapixel war all over again, right? So
yeah, just 1 million.
yeah,
Just-
exactly. It's very
yeah.
stupid, but it's just time consuming adding support for each one. But we have a really great team that's working on getting it done.
Yeah. So what is your team look like right now?
We have about 25 people. We're all remote, and yeah, a lot of us have come from ex-FANG employees. So we have a good
X what?
FANG like Facebook, Apple, Amazon,
Oh,
Netflix,
okay.
Google.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a really good skill set, and
Mhm.
we've just I don't know, we really enjoy the product. It's really cool because we're growing like crazy. Elections were nuts for us, and we're growing like more than 10% every month. We have been for multiple
Wow.
months, and we just keep hiring and keep growing and everything else. And yeah, it's killer to um, offer the product that we're doing, and it's doing a lot of good, especially when you see a lot of the crazy stuff about things coming out. Like, hey, if in a lot of countries, like it gets crazy, right? Of the government wanting to go and really punish you for things that you've said, and yeah, so a good use case there.
Yeah, no, that's really good, and I'm glad to see you guys are, if anything, like yeah, I'm happy for you and Redact, but I'm also just happy for the community because it means that like people are waking up.
Yeah,
I wish it wasn't because of circumstances. I wish people just happened to stumble on it organically, but it's cool to see. And just to just to relay this, I know Tuda put out an announcement on our forum that they saw like a crazy surge in users the last couple months. Without saying any names, I think I've gotten like 5 or 6 different signal messages from different projects on our resources now
mhm.
of similar like surges. So like the UK stuff, the end-to-end encryption thing, also was a huge surge for a lot of providers, and it's just really cool to see. So just as kind of a side note, I'm really happy to see like a lot of good services that are getting a lot of good traction right now.
I mean, I do with a lot of these online privacy sites, like I'm inherently distrustful. That's like realistically, like if it's not on your computer, I don't really trust it too much. The reason I'd say that is this, like you would say like Proton Mail is secure and fine and everything and good, and you never have to worry about anything. Your email's encrypted, of course. Same thing with Tuda and all these other people. And the thing is, it's not true. Like they're in countries that have pretty good laws about what the government can and can't do. But realistically speaking, if like, the James Bond of Switzerland or whatever comes up to Proton Mail and it's like, listen, you're going to serve this package of JavaScript to this IP address moving forward. And if you don't do it, we're literally going to put you all in jail. They're probably going to try and fight it legally, but if they can't, they're going to serve that piece of JavaScript to that user. Like you're only as secure when you're trusting a third-party service. You're trusting that everything is there, but all of that goes away if they just include one extra JavaScript file just for you that doesn't get pushed to the GitHub repo and you don't notice it. And that's it. And it's just a screen scraper and everything on the page, it gets sent elsewhere and you would never know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is like for a targeted individual, and I've seen this criticism, definitely legitimate. I would love to see, and I know this is something people have asked for, I would love to see a dedicated like browser extension that serves the JavaScript locally on device
Yeah.
to kind of try to remedy this solution. I know I've talked to a couple providers that implement this kind of tech, which is really cool to see, and I don't know why Proton hasn't implemented it yet,
It's actually
because
something that we're working on for Redact. Like in my world, what I want is that if Redact got hacked, Yeah, or let's say that Redact has a dude come to my house, hold a gun to my head, and it's like, you're going to push out a Trojan update to every single user, and we're going to, install calculator.exe on everyone's computer. I want a way for people to even opt out of automatic updates, and even when you start Redact, that you don't even check for the latest version of our instructions, endpoints to hit, and things along those lines. Like, I think that should be an option. Like, if you're that paranoid, while we're still closed source, to give the user that level of control where it's like, at least I know no matter what, like there's probably nothing these guys can do to do anything. Like, if the program stops working for Discord, I might have to go and selectively update that Discord package. But that's something that you can do, and you can't trust that with web services, right? Like, it can either be a rogue employee there that maybe does something. They put a proxy in front of one of their services, but only for a specific user. Like, you can't know, you can't stop it. It's like the XKCD wrench situation. All of these services are only as strong as imagining their CEO and their CTO in a room with a gun to their head, and that's it. Like, what can they do? They can push out something that can really target you. So we're trying our
Yeah.
best to make sure that even if that was the case, if you don't update, there's really nothing we can do.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good goal to strive for. And yeah, I mean, in defense of those services, I think there's still massive
Oh,
improvements to things
absolutely.
like Google.
As we said at the
So
start of this conversation,
yeah,
the perfection is the enemy of good, right? And the more that
right,
you go towards this level, like, remember how I said, like, the more secure, more privacy, the worse user interface. What a shitty user interface to, like, not like, your program's going to fail and we're going to be like, sorry, you have to update. It's like, why didn't you do this automatically, right? So the more you go, more secure, more private,
right.
the worse the user experience. Yeah.
Really hard to get the balance right. And I think giving options for things is kind of the way to strike a good middle ground for a lot of people.
Yep.
Um, Before I talk about future plans, just to kind of check in, I want to ask a little bit more about you and your
Hmm.
background. Um, and then I want to talk about future plans. But before then, pricing. So, one question I've received quite a bit is people are like, well, I just want to delete my Discord account, I want to delete my Twitter,
Hmm.
um, but I don't want to pay for a subscription.
Yep.
And I get that it's hard to offer a service that's one time and to still have a team. So, what are the approaches that you've taken in the past, and do you think the subscription will always be there? I know you have a lifetime plan,
Yep.
so if you want to just speak a little bit to that criticism, because I think it's
I,
valid.
I would say the best criticism that we get is like, why don't you offer a monthly plan? And that's probably the number one thing. We offer yearly subscription plans, and we offer a lifetime plan. It's a subscription in the first place because we have to keep working, right? It's not like I'm selling like cool calculator.exe and sometimes I'll make an update with like a new feature. Like, we actively have to have a team of engineers that are constantly updating when the services are updating to make sure our stuff still works. So we need to have recurring revenue on that front. And the lifetime stuff is kind of designed to complement that, where it's a little bit top heavy right now, but we're relying on that so that we can have our growth moving forward as well. But the reason we don't do it is that, realistically speaking, there is a lot of people that probably only think that they want to come in and delete stuff once. But a lot of these people, actually, they do it once and then they keep using their computer and they're like, shit. And now they want to do it again. And it's like, also, they don't have it anymore because it's 6 months later. They only bought 1 month because they wanted to do it one time. But we also have to charge a amount that makes sense, because we're going to have to do the same amount of user support if you like run into an issue or if you have questions, right? We're still going to have to do the same level of development and operations to support you as a user as we will for a yearly user or a lifetime user. So the price that we have to charge for monthly at $35, it's like, wouldn't you rather just buy yearly for $95? Like, so that's kind of the issue that we have, and we have to kind of balance. We're constantly experimenting with pricing plans and trying to find what's right, but at the end of the day, yeah, most people think that they just want to come in, delete all their stuff once and be done. But for most people, that's not, you know it's not sustainable for our business to be that wham bam thank you ma'am, out of the situation type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you mind quickly expanding? Because you do have a free plan, but what's the restriction on the free plan?
So it depends on the service. So if I pull up our pricing page here, basically, the main thing.
And I'm sure
Hmm.
I just want to disclaim this might change if anyone's listening to this 6 months later. So we're recording this in April of 2025.
Sure. Um, So the free version lets you delete all of your stuff on Twitter, but it doesn't let you use your data export to do it, which means that it's going to take a few days to do it. Because as anyone who's used Twitter for a while, sometimes you delete a bunch of stuff and then you scroll and nothing loads anymore, and that's it, right? Because it's only using the existing API of the website, and not your data package, right? So if you scroll long enough on Twitter, it'll stop working. Like I remember, everyone remembers the day when Elon Musk gave us all the quota on how much we can use on Twitter, where it was like, sorry, you've reached your limit for today, unless you're Twitter Blue or whatever it was at that point. Um, Basically, you can do around 30,000 tweets a day for free. But we don't limit it. Like you can, if you want to take the time, you can go and you can delete 100,000 tweets if you just come back every day and do it. And it's not us limiting it; it's Twitter. Um, for Discord and Facebook, it's full access, but we only let you go back 30 days instead of whatever. So if you own, and there's also certain features like we don't let you get access to the scheduler, so you can't have like cool stuff like every day delete all my stuff older than 7 days, or again, there's like a comparison page of the things that we offer for free versus premium versus our ultimate plan. But we try, the main things is Reddit and Twitter. And for both of those, we let you, if you go through the time, you can go and you can either anonymize or delete all of your content. On Reddit, for the free version, we only let you anonymize. We don't let you delete. So you can only do those edits if you're for free. But you can do it all. You can go through every single post. It just takes longer. Yeah.
Got it. And I'm sure that when you do the data removal, it will, especially because it's grouped up with that middle tier, I think that's a easier way to justify the subscription cost,
Yeah, I think
because
so.
that is an ongoing thing,
Yeah, well, and also
for sure.
we're blowing everyone else out of the water on pricing and on effectiveness, right? So I can't wait for when we launch to have the first comparison, because I'll tell you, if you do, it might be a pain in the ass for you to do it, but if you go and you do your own test and you find three people in your family and you're like, hey, I want to delete you. You okay with that? And you do it you find three people and you delete them, you'll find these sites say, oh, you're deleted from the site, and you go check and you're still there. We've done this multiple times. Like there's a scandal here for all of these sites. None of them are immune. Where first off, they say that they found you on websites and you're not there. Secondly, where they say that they remove you from these websites and they haven't. And if you actually go do your own test, you're going to be shocked at the results. And Redact will be different. When we delete you, you're deleted. That's because we pressed
Mhm.
the delete button on the website like you're supposed to do. So we're not doing any shenanigans of like emailing into support like, will you delete us, please, please, pretty please, and then they respond back, and that we don't do that. We go through the actual opt-out form that the website has, and we click submit, next, yes, next, checkbox, captcha, email confirmation, delete, all done on your device. Yeah.
Got it. Oh, that makes sense. Um, so about you, just some
Sure.
questions. Like, you said you had a history with FANG. I haven't heard that acronym before. I don't. Were you part of that, or was that most of the team? Like, what's your history before
No,
Redact?
most of the team is the FANG people. I've luckily been able to escape corporate life. I've done startups pretty much my entire life, I guess, since around early 2000s. And I've done everything and anything in between. I created the largest petition website online that got acquired and kind of became change.org. I created pretty much the very first social meta search engine, which was called scour.com. One of the things I'm most well known for is I created kind of the precursor for video chat online called Tiny Chat, which was a like a group video chat directly in the browser with no program needed. And this was in the late 2000s. And back then, like, really, if you want to do a video call, your only option was like Skype. And it was a very tedious process. It's like if you want to video call someone, it's like, okay, what's your Skype screen name? Okay, let me download it. I have to add you as a friend. Okay, I've added you as a friend. Let me call you. Please accept the call. This thing. And Tiny Chat came in and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna email you a link. Just click it, and we're both gonna be there. And that was a huge success of that company. And then I've done a bunch of other startups in between that, but it's always been startup based. I've never like really had a job working at a big tech company or any of that type of stuff. Um, yeah,
Yeah. So why Redact
I
then?
think it's probably
I know you said the Skype thing, but like, why did you decide to do that, and then that led to like your next like business that
I
you
think
wanted to
it's probably
start?
the most important thing I've done. as far as having a positive influence in the world, and protecting people, and realistically speaking, being able to really provide a product of value. And there's nothing else like it out there right now at all. Like there is no privacy suite software. Like you have, like I think DuckDuckGo is kind of trying to go in that direction, and you have like Proton that's kind of trying to go in that direction. But a lot of it is like, who's really out there about managing your data online? The one piece of software that lets you manage, analyze, control, delete, edit, etc., all of your data across everything. And then the big thing that if you talk about where we want to be in the future, it's like I want to be able to search that as well. Like how annoying is it on Discord that you can't search and have it search all of your conversations? Like you have to go into each, if you want, like I told someone about a restaurant, I don't remember who. There's no way to do a search and have it go through all your DMs. You have to go through each DM one by one by one. God forbid it was in a server, you might not know. So we want to be able to take all of your data across everything, have it locally on your device, and it'll give you this experience where you can search anything and everything and have access, and graphs, and analysis and everything. And you can combine people across everything. So that's like a very far out version of where we go. Right now, we're specifically focused on deleting your content on the internet. But I think a big part of where we can be is allowing you to get insights of your data on the internet once you've had it locally as well. So that's like a really cool thing for me.
Got it. I do like the archiving, and it's something that I've already been asked because I set up my Mastodon, my personal Mastodon account to be ephemeral. I I think I messed up the config. I need to fix it. But pretty much the way I want it is that it's just a
Yep.
1 month feed. So everything I post older than a month just gets automatically deleted. So just stay subscribed to the Mastodon page if you like it, but it's only going to be short. There's nothing I post there that needs to be known for
Yep.
more than a month. It's just like random personal takes I have. But I like how it archives it. And people ask, why don't you use the Mastodon built-in one? Because Mastodon does have a built-in auto deletion. But then I can't save it, and it doesn't archive it. So that was cool. And just I didn't know, did Discord not let you search? There's not a centralized search
No.
across the whole. Oh, okay. It's pretty ironic that you could have an easier time searching through your Discord messages after you delete them on a local piece of software than on
Yeah,
Discord
and there's
itself.
there's no way to search across servers either. So it's kind of crazy. Like
Weird.
the best you could do is you could download your data package and then like use some large text file viewer
Yeah,
to like
Control F.
search through
Yeah.
5,000 text files at once. But yeah, um, yeah,
That's funny. I didn't know that limitation. I guess, so, we used to have a Discord server for Techlore, and that's like the only thing I've ever used Discord for
mm,
consistently. So I've never had to like search across multiple things, but it's crazy that wasn't a thing. Even Matrix, I think, does that, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. I think Matrix lets you search across everything. Well, is there anything that you feel like I missed that you want to touch on in terms of future plans, or any messages you want to leave with the audience?
I guess like the biggest message I can have is just that like perfect is the enemy of good. There's far too many people out there that will just constantly repeat the same line of what's the point of deleting it? There's a copy out there, and it just stop saying that. It's bad. It's not true. Deleting stuff is always good. You're limiting access to it, even if there is a copy out there somewhere. You're not deleting it to delete the internet, to delete it permanently. You're deleting it because you want as few people to have access and to have that harm uh, as forever. Like if I delete a piece of content, like let's say I tweet something and I immediately delete it, okay, and now the only person that has it is like Steve Bob 315 on Twitter, who just happened to load his feed at the exact time I tweeted it. Like, is it like pointless for me to have deleted that if he's the only person that has it? Does he care enough to archive it? Does he care to do it? Or what about if it's just some random bot out there that has it, but they're only doing it for spam purposes, and it'll probably going to shut down the whole operation after 6 months or whatever? Like, it's an enemy of good is this idea that there's no point in deleting stuff. There's a massive point in doing it, and you should do it. And there's no point of keeping stuff like older than 30 days on the internet. And we automate that whole thing. You can just come in here, and as I said, you can go crazy with how you want it to be set up across every service. So every day, just delete everything older than 7 days, except for this conversation, except for this one, unless the likes are under 15, but only if it has 2 retweets. Like you can do whatever you want. And that's kind of the power of our software.
Yeah, I'm gonna set it up so instead of for every month, I'm only gonna show the Mastodon posts that have over like 100 reblogs, and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
guys, look, I only post fire on my Mastodon
Yeah.
profile.
I mean, that's a legitimate thing. Like, what's the point of keeping stuff on your Mastodon that nobody engaged with, that didn't have much purpose? But like your bangers, your banger posts out there that had like a lot of people commenting on it, fuck it, leave it there for people to go and see your fuck ups or your successes along the way. Like as long as you're cognizant of what's there, then absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a funny way to possibly do it. I still like my ephemeral
Hmm.
idea, so, but I could see someone
Yep.
setting that up. Well, thank you so much, Dan. This has been a huge help. Is there a place that people can reach you or reach
Well, I
Redact
mean,
if they want to learn more?
Redact.dev is there, and I have, I guess, saltman.com, saltman.com. You can find some more information about me there, and yeah, I guess that's good. That works. Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of salt?
You know, um, I guess Himalayan pink salt, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't like
Nice.
flavored
I mean,
salts are
it's
not
not
good. I just like it's pink. So, yeah.
nice. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Have you ever had that question on an
No,
interview before?
what's funny is that I actually I met with two people from UMass Amherst who were doing a privacy project, and the two professors I talked with, one of them was named uh, I think it was Sugarman, and the other one was named Zuckerman, and Zucker is just sugar in German. So yeah, the
Whoa.
the two Sugarmans and the Saltman. Yeah, it was fun.
Wow. No, that's funny. That's a really good
There you
little
go.
insight. So
Yeah.
thanks for sharing.
Well, it was a
Yeah.
great
All
chatting
right.
with
Thank
you.
you, Dan. And that, my friends, was the interview. I want to thank you all for listening, and I hope that you took away a few things. If you got any value out of this, definitely let me/anyone know in the comments what kind of resonated with you. And of course, remember that we couldn't do interviews like this without supporters, our Techlorians who support Techlore on Patreon or our forum or XMR chat if you just want Monero. We also just paste a Monero address on our website. So these interviews wouldn't be possible without all of that support. And of course, I want to thank Dan for taking time out of his day to be on the podcast. I'll see you all next time on Techlore.